Oh, tomorrow night Bob and Ray will be here. Be nice to see them again. And Rich Little, Lola Falana, and producer and author, a man who's written a wonderful book about the theater, John Houseman, who worked with Orson Welles on Citizen Kane and in Orson Welles' Mercury Theater days, and was even involved in the that broadcast of the War of the Worlds that panicked the country. Yeah. Talking with Roberta Flack at this moment.
Right.
You used to be a school teacher. Does that seem incredible that you were a school teacher
really,
once and now you're
it's
hot
not
stuff in show business?
Oh, please,
Ow.
hot stuff. Yeah, this week you're hot stuff. Next week,
I use all the modern new phrases, hip talk, hot stuff.
Yeah.
Dream boat, all those things.
You're actually very hip, Dick. I wanted to tell you that you're actually very hip.
Underneath it all, there may be.
No, I think really on the surface you're very hip.
The surface is getting hip too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Very hip.
And how's the hip?
Right.
But the hip is square.
Right.
But you were a teacher.
Yeah,
Do you ever wish
school.
you were back there when the pressures of show business get too great?
No, I love the pressures of show business. I love it. Yeah, that's why I decided to, I had to resign my teaching job. I was one of those honest people. I went down at the end of a summer off. You know how teachers are always off during the summer. And this particular summer, in 1968, I decided to try and find a job that I really wanted to do, So the natural thing was to try to find a nice little club or something to play some soft, music or something. And I ran into this man who was interested in hiring a singer and pianist. Okay, to make the story short, I wound up in September, when I should have been going back to teach, I wound up resigning my job because I went down to the Board of Education in Washington and I said, I'd like to, like permission to have an extra job. And they said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to sing and play in a club. And they said, oh, never, No. Teachers can't do that. Of course, I had been doing it for 3 years. But I had been playing in an opera restaurant, and I think if they knew, and I'm sure they did, they thought that was all right. But to sing, Impossible Dream in a nightclub on Friday night was unheard of. So.
That's not what Miss Flack should be doing.
So I had to resign. I really did, and I gave up a very lucrative position as a teacher to work for $20 a week, and I don't regret it at all.
That's a switch. Where did you find a lucrative position as a teacher?
Well, it was lucrative for me because at that point I didn't have any real responsibilities other than myself, and I had a couple of pets and myself, and we were able to make it real well off of $8,000 a year. It was good.
You'd have made more teaching Latin in my school.
You never taught Latin in England, did you?
No, but I was very good as a Latin student in junior high school, I remember. I think I got some very good grades.
I missed Latin all the way around somehow. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that because they don't like anyone who doesn't speak Latin. No, I missed it. I never studied it.
Oh, you never studied it at all?
No. I don't know how I've
Well, you did miss
survived.
You missed it. It's a great...
I sort of wish I had. I always liked hearing people doing their conjugations. And,
yes, it's very exciting.
Their gerunds and their gerundives.
Amo, amas, amat. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
It really is.
I'm sure it was, and I'm so hip that I'd really like it.
Right.
Talking with Orson Bean, who did that thing that people dare themselves to do. Now, once you got out there into the big house and you were all sharing the cooking and the working and the bed making and all, there must be some drawbacks to it, where you wake up in a cold sweat and say, oh, I shouldn't have done it.
The drawbacks weren't what most people would think they were. People would say, oh, we would squabble over the money, who paid the bills, or who bought what or what we had for dinner. That was never a problem. The good things about it, the Commune lasted almost 3 months, I guess, and the good things...
It lasted 3 months?
Yeah, and we were perfectly prepared for it to go on until June, at which point we would just figured that the school year would be over and we would move on to another adventure. However, the other couple wasn't as crazy about it as we were, and for perfectly valid reasons. They felt that their family was losing its image, that the kids... an interesting thing happened. There were 8 kids there, 4 of ours and 4 of theirs. They had a sub-commune within the commune, as it worked out. We rarely saw them. They only came around at mealtime. Aside from that, it was like they were away at camp somewhere. We heard them constantly. The noise level was incredible, but we never saw them. And they felt that the lines were fuzzying up of where their family ended and ours began, which we did too, but we didn't mind that.
Why would that necessarily be bad?
Where would it be bad?
Yeah.
I think that some women have a need to mother their children in the sense that they need that specific adoration need. If a kid falls down and hurts his knee and runs to them, they would feel bad if the kid don't run to them as much anymore.
Well, the thing that would get to me, I would think, would be the fact that it'd be like the company never goes home. You know, I mean, everyone has certain friends they could imagine maybe sharing a cabin with for a week or two or something.
The lack of privacy was a serious drawback for me. I found myself sometimes with something I desperately wanted to tell my wife at 10 in the morning, and I never found her alone for a minute till 10 o'clock at night, and by that time I'd forgotten what it was.
Was it just an adventure, or did you go into it thinking it might be something that you could just live with, you know, for a long,
If it had
long
been
time?
swell, we would have lived with it forever, you know, just like anything. But on the other hand, you shouldn't stick with anything if it isn't fun anymore. If the good doesn't outweigh the bad, I'll say. And that goes for anything.
Did you have television sets?
Yeah.
Then I know the problem in my house, you know, that I want to look at a program. My wife wants to look at another one, and the kids, well, we don't have much choice in England, but, you know, there's not that many channels. But there's always a row. How do you manage with 28 people looking at television?
It just didn't seem to be a problem. With that many people around, TV receded into the background. We found that the kids didn't even watch it much anymore. There was a lot of people around. There was a whole world going on in there.
Have your own chat show?
Yeah, we did. What I loved about it was this guy worked in the afternoon and the evening. I found myself looking forward to his coming home at night, almost like a wife would. I said, geez, you know, it's almost time for him to come home. It'll be swell. We can eat then.
I picture you getting your apron off and fixing your... it's like, wait a minute.
I really became very fond of him because his coming home meant that we could eat. We used to feed the kids at 6 o'clock, and then we'd wait till he got home from work, and then we'd all sit down and eat. But it worked out rather nicely. My wife was inordinately fond of the situation. She loved sharing the housework with the other girl. She loved the fact that there were certain chores that she never enjoyed doing that it happened that the other girl enjoyed doing. For instance, the other girl didn't mind whipping up a schlock meal of hamburgers for the kids. My wife, on the other hand, really enjoys making a kind of a fancy meal. So the other lady made the dinner for the kids at 6 o'clock and whipped something up that was nice for them. And then my wife went to work, and we put candles on the table and had prepared a nice little meal with a sauce, you know, for the grown-ups for later. And she liked the fact that she enjoys going shopping, which the other girl hates to do. So my wife would do all the shopping at the supermarket for the week. And the other girl likes dusting around and watering the plants and that kind of thing, which my wife ain't crazy about.
Is there, excuse me, Dick, is there a guide? I just wanted to ask him, is there a guide for living in communes or for organizing communes? Or do you just find somebody that you think you'd like to live with and go at it that way?
There isn't any guide. Most communes fail because they are imitations of a marriage, but with more people. There's usually one or two people that take the garbage out, and nobody else does anything. It becomes like a daddy figure in every commune that I've ever read about, and the rest of the people kind of come and go and don't carry their own weight. Ours was a kind of a middle-class commune where everybody took out the garbage and everybody helped with this, that, and the other, and we weren't searching for something in the commune except an expanded family. I feel that the atomic family is basically not the ideal way to live. I think it probably was swell back in the days before the Industrial Revolutions when there was a lot of people under one roof, maiden aunts and grandfathers and cousins and teenagers, and everybody kind of living in a big group. I like being around people.
But it's over. I mean, that's an episode that's passed.
If we find some other crazy people that are crazy in the particular way that we're crazy, we'll...
You might do it again.
Just have another kid, and you've already got 4, and you've got your own commune anyway.
That's right.
It's not the same. You've got to have outsiders. After this message, we'll be right back.